Have you ever felt it? That profound, soul-deep exhaustion that comes not from physical labor, but from the relentless, invisible effort of holding your life together with sheer force of will? It feels like you're constantly pushing an immense, unseen boulder uphill every single day. You wake up, and your first thought is of the grip you must maintain, a death grip on your plans, your relationships, your career, your very dreams for the future. You believe, with every fiber of your being, that if you loosen your hold for even a single moment, everything you've painstakingly built will crumble into dust. This feeling, this constant draining tension, is a signal from your higher self, a sacred whisper from the universe itself. It's a call to awaken to a truth so simple yet so profoundly transformative that it can shift the very foundation of your reality. If this deep knowing resonates within your soul, let your energy be felt. A simple like, a subscription to join our collective journey, or sharing your own story of release in the comments below can create a powerful ripple of awakening for others who feel just as you do. Let the universe know you are ready by typing, "I am ready to let go," or simply the number 777, and affirm your decision to step into the flow. Imagine your entire existence as a journey on a vast cosmic river. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you have been convinced that your destination lies upstream, against the powerful, unyielding current. You've been swimming with all your might, your spiritual muscles burning with exhaustion, your vision blurred by the constant spray of resistance. You fight the water, you curse its strength. You believe that struggle is the only noble path forward. You see the strain as a badge of honor, a testament to your dedication and strength. You tell yourself, if I just paddle harder, kick more fiercely, and never, ever stop fighting, I will eventually reach that distant shore I've imagined. But what if the destination you seek, the peace your soul yearns for, was never upstream to begin with? What if your destiny, in all its magnificence, has been waiting for you downstream this whole time? This is the moment of awakening, the pivotal point of divine guidance. It's the sacred instant where, out of sheer exhaustion or a flicker of higher wisdom, you finally stop kicking. You stop forcing. You stop fighting. You simply let go. For a terrifying moment, you feel yourself being pulled by the current you've fought for so long. The ego screams in panic, convinced that this is defeat, that you are being swept away to your doom. But then, something miraculous happens. You realize you are not drowning. You are being held. You are not being lost. You are being guided. The very same energy you perceived as an adversary is now your greatest ally. You turn around and you allow the divine current of source energy to carry you. The journey becomes not a battle, but a dance. The river, which once seemed so cruel, now reveals its true nature. It is the very flow of life, love, and destiny, and it has always been trying to carry you home. Most souls, however, never discover this sacred secret. They spend entire lifetimes trapped in the illusion of control. Look around you, and you will see it everywhere. People spend decades, their entire precious life force, on the exhausting tasks of pushing, controlling, manipulating, and forcing every single outcome. They are convinced, conditioned by a world that worships effort over alignment, that if they just strategize a little more cleverly, plan a little more meticulously, work a little longer, and force things a little harder, that the universe will finally bend to their will. They create intricate 5-year plans. They try to script every important conversation. They build fortresses around their hearts to protect themselves from hurt, all in a desperate attempt to orchestrate a perfect, predictable life. They are masters of spiritual micromanagement, believing that their finite human mind can outwit the infinite intelligence of the cosmos. But here's the profound, liberating truth that the universe is whispering to you right now. The very act of gripping so tightly is the source of your stagnation. Your desperation for a certain outcome, your white-knuckled attachment to a specific timeline, is the very dam that is blocking the divine flow of abundance, love, and miracles into your life. Think of your desire as a ship waiting to come into your harbor. Your constant, frantic energy of control creates a tempestuous storm around that harbor, making it impossible for the ship to dock safely. Your fear, your worry, your need to manage every detail, These are the turbulent waves that keep your own blessings at bay. Your desperation creates a vibration, a frequency of lack and resistance that literally repels the very thing you are praying for. The universe isn't withholding from you. Your own death grip is preventing you from being able to receive. I want you to pause for a moment. Take a deep, conscious breath and think about this honestly. When was the last time something truly beautiful and magical happened in your life that you did not meticulously plan, orchestrate, or fight for? When did a perfect opportunity land in your lap the very day after you finally gave up your desperate search? Do you remember that person who walked into your life and felt like a missing piece of your soul right after you had finally made peace with being alone? What about that stroke of creative genius that downloaded into your mind during a quiet walk in nature after you had spent weeks staring at a blank page trying to force it? Were these mere coincidences? Were they random flukes of luck? Or were they glimpses of a deeper universal law at play? Were they moments where you, perhaps unknowingly, released your resistance, opened your hands, and allowed the universe to finally deliver what it had been trying to give you all along? These moments are your proof. They are your spiritual evidence that there is another way, a more graceful, a more powerful, a more aligned way to live. Our society has trained us to believe a fundamental lie. We have been conditioned to equate letting go with giving up. We have been taught that surrendering is a sign of weakness, that relaxing our control means accepting defeat. The very idea of it can trigger deep-seated fears of being lazy, passive, or irresponsible. But what if I told you that true surrender is not a passive act, but the most courageous and active form of faith you can embody? It is not about collapsing in defeat. It is about rising in trust. It is not about giving up on your dreams. It is about giving up the struggle and allowing your dreams to come to you through a more harmonious path. The breakthrough you have been desperately fighting for is not on the other side of more effort. It is not waiting for you after one more sleepless night of planning or one more act of forcing your will upon the world. The truth is, the breakthrough you seek, the peace you crave, the abundance you desire, is waiting for you on the other side of surrender. This is not a call to inaction. This is not about sitting back on your couch and hoping that miracles will fall from the sky into your lap. This is about understanding a fundamental truth of energy that changes everything. The very same life force energy you are currently spending on worrying, controlling, and fighting against the current is the exact same energy that could be flowing towards creating those outcomes naturally and joyfully. Every ounce of energy you expend in resistance is an ounce of energy that is stolen from the power of creation. When you are in a state of force, your energy is constricted, dense, and limited. You are operating from a place of fear and lack. But when you are in a state of flow, your energy is expansive, light, and magnetic. You become a clear channel for divine ideas, inspired actions, and synchronous opportunities. The shift from forcing to flowing is the shift from being a dam to being a river. And when you finally understand this distinction, when you truly grasp it not just intellectually but in the very cells of your being, when you finally let go of the steering wheel just enough to let life surprise you, everything begins to move. The pieces of the puzzle that you were trying to jam together begin to fall into place on their own. The doors you were trying to break down with a battering ram suddenly swing open with a gentle push. The people you were trying to convince and win over are either effortlessly drawn to your authentic vibration or they gently drift away, making space for those who are truly meant for you. You have felt this before, even if you didn't recognize it at the time. Remember that perfect job opportunity that showed up right after you stopped desperately scrolling through listings and simply declared to the universe, "I am open to the perfect role for me"? Remember that profound relationship that blossomed when you finally stopped trying to force a connection with the wrong person and focused on loving yourself? Remember that creative project that came together effortlessly once you stopped overthinking every single detail and just allowed it to be born through you? These were not coincidences. These were not accidents. They were glimpses of what happens when you align with the universal flow instead of fighting against it. But here is where the journey gets even more profound, where the transformation becomes truly soul-deep. Letting go isn't just about your external circumstances, your job, your finances, your relationships. It's not just about releasing your grip on the outcomes in the world around you. The deepest, most transformative healing happens when you let go of the internal struggles. The real magic unfolds when you stop fighting against parts of yourself that you have been trying to change, fix, or improve for your entire life. It happens when you finally stop forcing yourself to be someone you think you should be and start courageously, unconditionally allowing yourself to be who you actually are. This is the ultimate act of self-love and the key to unlocking your true divine potential. Most of us are walking around carrying invisible, crushing weights. We carry the ghosts of our past selves, the versions of us we think we should have moved past by now. We carry emotions we've been taught are negative or unspiritual, and we fight a constant battle to suppress them. We carry dreams we've labeled as too impractical or too late to pursue, and we silence the yearning of our own hearts. We are constantly at war with our own authentic expression, convinced that if we just discipline ourselves enough, if we just smooth over our rough edges, if we just hide our vulnerabilities, we can become this perfect, controlled, acceptable version of a human being. We believe that our quirks, our sensitivities, our passions, and even our pain are flaws that need to be corrected before we can be worthy of love and success. But perfection was never the goal. Alignment is the goal. Flow is the goal. And flow cannot happen when you are constantly correcting, judging, adjusting, and forcing yourself into a mold that was never designed for your unique soul. Flow happens when you stop resisting what is. It happens when you start working with the energy that is already present within you, rather than against it. Flow happens when you stop trying to be someone else and start becoming more fully, unapologetically yourself. This radical shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you are no longer spending all your precious energy fighting against your own nature, that energy is liberated. It becomes available for creation, for joy, for love, for passion. When you are not constantly trying to control every variable of your inner world, you become sensitive to the subtle currents of intuition that are actually guiding you toward what you are meant to experience. When you stop forcing doors that aren't meant to open, you suddenly notice all the ones that have been unlocked and waiting for you all along. The irony is that this act of letting go requires a tremendous, almost paradoxical form of strength. It takes immense courage to release control when every part of your conditioning screams that control is the only thing that equals safety. It takes profound wisdom to recognize the difference between giving up and allowing. It takes a deep, unwavering trust to believe that there is an intelligence larger than your own personal will that is working on your behalf, co-creating with you. And this is precisely where most people get stuck. They want the benefits of letting go, but they are terrified of what might happen if they actually do it. What if nothing happens? Their fear whispers. What if I end up disappointed and alone? What if letting go is just a pretty way of saying I'm not strong enough to make things happen? These fears are understandable, but they are based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what letting go truly means. Letting go does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming responsive instead of reactive. It means learning to sense the difference between inspired action that flows from a place of inner knowing and desperate action that erupts from a place of fear. It means trusting that when you align with your authentic energy, the right opportunities, people, and circumstances will be naturally drawn into your experience, because you've earned them through struggle, but because you have finally created the space for them through your presence. When you operate from this sacred space, work no longer feels like work. Relationships no longer feel like projects you need to manage. Creativity no longer feels forced or calculated. Life begins to feel more like a dance than a battle. You are still taking action, still making decisions, still moving toward what you desire, but the quality of that movement is completely different. There is an ease to it, a natural rhythm that feels sustainable instead of exhausting. This is what flow truly looks like. It's not about everything in your life suddenly becoming effortless. It's about your effort feeling aligned instead of resistant. It's not about never facing challenges. It's about approaching those challenges from a place of centered curiosity instead of panicked desperation. It's not about controlling outcomes. It's about trusting your divine ability to respond to whatever emerges. And here is what nobody ever talks about. The transition from forcing to flowing is not always a smooth, graceful glide. There is often a period of discomfort, a space in between where you feel like you are floating in limbo. You've let go of the old way of pushing. but you haven't yet fully experienced the magic of the new way of flowing. During this sacred transition, it can feel like nothing is happening. It can feel like you are adrift in a void. The temptation during this in-between space is to panic. The ego will scream that letting go isn't working, that you need to go back to forcing, that this whole idea of flow was just wishful thinking. But this transitional space is not emptiness. It is potential. It is the sacred pause before the breakthrough. It is the silence before the music begins. And learning to become comfortable in this space, learning to trust the process even when you cannot see the immediate results, is the single most important part of this journey. It is what determines whether you will truly experience the transformation you are seeking. Because once you make it through this transition, once you learn to let go without giving up, once you discover how to surrender without becoming passive, everything changes. The opportunities that start appearing are ones you never could have planned for. The solutions that emerge are ones you never would have thought of. The connections that form feel destined rather than manufactured. And, most importantly, you start feeling like yourself again, not the polished, edited version you thought you should be, but the raw, authentic, powerful version of you that exists when you are not performing for anyone. This is when life truly starts to flow. This is when you stop swimming upstream and finally discover that the current was always trying to carry you exactly where you needed to go. The river was never your enemy. Your resistance to the river was the only problem. The moment you truly let go, something extraordinary happens. Your nervous system stops living in a constant state of alert. Your mind stops spinning through endless scenarios of what could go wrong. Your body stops carrying the tension of trying to hold everything together. And in that space, in that sudden stillness, you remember what it feels like to truly breathe again. The things you were trying so hard to force either show up naturally in a completely different, more perfect form, or you realize you never actually wanted them in the first place. Your desperation was the static interference. Your control was the wall. Your forcing was the resistance that was actually creating more resistance. And when you remove those elements, what's left is pure creative potential. The river is still here. It was always here. The only question is, are you finally ready to let it carry you home?